Everybody rolls with their fingers crossed. Everybody knows the war is over.
That's me under the pile of police officers. My knee bleeding and my arm nearly broken. What the hell did he do, you must be asking yourself? He must have done something. Well, I'm on the ground because I would not take off my shoes. Passive resistance. Why I was arrested? Oh, we need to go back a little bit for that one. It was the day of my arraignment, December 16th, 2013, in the Gwinnett County Recorder's Court. It was a traffic citation for driving on an expired registration. I was going to make some arguments I had prepared, but part of the strategy requires the court to identify itself, meaning it has to establish the subject matter jurisdiction. I cannot enter a plea before that, or I accept whatever jurisdiction they choose to impose. They do have a system to get you to comply. It's like an assembly line. They hand you a sheet that is a waiver of your rights. They expect you to sign it and to make a plea. The clerk tries very hard to get you to do that, but they cannot force you to. The solicitor will talk to you to try to make you cop to a plea. But by doing so, then you're accepting the jurisdiction. Again, they want you to make a plea. There is no law that forces you to speak to a prosecutor or a solicitor. You have a Fifth Amendment right. Now, mysteriously, the section where they order me to approach the bench is missing. And they say it cannot be recovered. She orders me to approach her. Now, you can't see it from this angle, but there's no judge on the bench. The court is not in session. She orders me again to approach her. I told her, no, thank you. I don't wish to speak to you. If you want to speak to me, you can approach me if you like. She would have none of that. She would not have a slave speak to her in such a manner. The judge's secretary then orders me to approach the solicitor. I inform both of them I do not consent to speak to anyone, except the judge. Now, it's not here on the tape, but the solicitor says something to the bailiff. Then the bailiff orders me to approach the solicitor, to cop a plea. I told him I do not consent to speak with him as well. A bailiff cannot order you to speak to the solicitor to cop a plea. This is where it starts to get ugly. He comes right towards me. He then asks to speak to me in a closed room with no camera, no witnesses, and no audio. That would be stupid. He can accuse me of anything in that room, and it would just be his word against mine, or his fellow officers and mine. I asked if I was under arrest. He says no, in front of witnesses. He then grabs my arm. I ask him again if I'm under arrest. He says no. So I say, then let go of me. Now, it's not resisting arrest, because by his own admission, I'm not under arrest. You can see the other bailiffs beginning to surround me and block the camera. He then asks me if I'm going to behave. I told him I would be quiet unless the solicitor asked me the question or a judge asked me a question, and then I would answer it. He then grabs me and then drags me into the room with no camera, no audio, no witnesses except for the other bailiffs. In the room, I asked him if I'm under arrest. He says no. I asked him if I'm being detained. He says no, yet I'm not allowed to leave. They also block the door to make sure no witnesses can enter and see what's going on. He then again asked me, am I going to go to the solicitor and cop a plea? I told him I would be silent. If the solicitor asked me a question, I would answer it. If the judge asked me a question, I would answer it. That infuriated him. He then arrests me for disorderly conduct. Now you can see in the tape, this is the room you take someone when they're under arrest. They still wanted to bully me into submission. One officer finds my pipe tobacco and claims it's marijuana. But look here at his anger. I stood up for my rights, and he's infuriated. I told him I would not resist, but I would not assist in my arrest. They demand I take off my shoes. I decline. Now, do you see me resist? Is this the future you want? All you need is a GED to become a police officer. Do you want government employees to think that they can ignore the law and Constitution and laugh at your rights as if it was a joke? Get involved. Protest. Ask questions and wake up.